There are mornings when age announces itself not with a calendar, but with a sudden, wrenching ache. A leg that seizes in the dark, a calf so tight it takes your breath away, a simple walk that feels like a climb. For millions of people over 60, those episodes are not isolated inconveniences. They are a recurring interruption of sleep, independence, and dignity. They erode confidence slowly, day by day, until simple pleasures, a stroll down the block, an evening dance, kneeling to tend a garden, begin to feel like risky undertakings. If you recognize that rhythm in your own life, know this at once. What you are feeling is not moral failure or mere frailty. It is biology, and biology can be understood, explained, and crucially, helped. In the next several minutes, I will offer a single, practical intervention you can make at home. A drink that, when used consistently and intelligently, supplies the precise nutrients that muscles need to repair themselves and to resist the spasms that become more common with age. This is not a miracle cure, nor a substitute for medical care. It is a targeted nutritional strategy grounded in what decades of clinical research tell us about the aging muscle. That a decline in muscle mass and strength, sarcopenia, combined with shifts in fluid balance and mineral availability, produces both weakness and hyperexcitability of the muscle fibers that we experience as cramps. The beverage I will describe is intended to address those mechanisms directly, to replenish electrolytes, supply building blocks for protein synthesis, and support the cellular hydration that allows muscles to work without misfiring. You may be skeptical, and you should be. Bold promises in the wellness world too often outstrip the evidence. My aim here is different. I will be explicit about what this drink does and does not do. I will explain the physiology in plain language, summarize the types of clinical evidence that support the approach, and, when appropriate, name the limits of what we know. Above all, I will treat the reader and viewer as an intelligent, seasoned person who deserves both respect and usable information. If you are taking prescription medications, if you have kidney disease, or if you have been advised by a physician to follow a restricted diet, this material is educational and should be discussed with your healthcare provider before you change your regimen. That said, for most older adults who are otherwise medically stable, modest, consistent changes in daily nutrition can produce measurable improvements in strength, cramp frequency, and overall quality of life. Why begin with a drink? Because for the physiology of muscle, liquid is often the simplest and fastest vehicle for change. Muscles require not only the right raw materials, amino acids, minerals, and certain vitamins, but also a cellular environment where those materials can be taken up and used. Hydration status, sodium and potassium gradients, and levels of magnesium are not abstract curiosities. They determine whether a muscle fiber will contract smoothly or spasm uncontrollably. Across the lifespan, these gradients shift. Older adults commonly absorb nutrients less efficiently, lose lean mass at a faster rate, and become more susceptible to small imbalances that, in a younger body, would have been corrected without notice. A thoughtfully composed drink can be engineered to correct those shortfalls quickly, to be safe and palatable, and to integrate into a daily routine without fuss. In this opening moment, I want to replace anxiety with agency. The experience of waking to a cramp or of noticing one's gait becoming stiffer is disorienting because it feels sudden and personal, yet it follows predictable pathways. When you understand those pathways, you can act deliberately. Over the course of this video, I will show you the physiology in accessible terms, cite the types of studies that inform the recommendations, and give you an exact recipe that is feasible for home preparation. I will also explain when the drink should be avoided, how it fits into a broader plan of protein intake and resistance activity, and what realistic timelines for improvement look like. Some viewers will see meaningful change in days. Measurable improvements in strength and reduced cramping are more typically observed over weeks when the nutritional strategy is combined with modest, progressive movement. This series of explanations will be rigorous, but not doctrinaire. I will not ask you to overhaul your life overnight. Instead, I will offer a precise, evidence-aligned step that can be adopted today, described in language you can repeat to a family member or to your clinician. The goal is practical restoration, better sleep, fewer interruptions from painful muscle spasms, and a gradual return of confidence in everyday movement. If you are someone who has watched well-intentioned fixes fail before, I ask only for your attention and curiosity. We will proceed with clarity about both benefits and limits. Before we move on, remember this. Age changes the rules, but it does not remove the possibility of improvement. Muscles are metabolically active tissues that respond to the signals they receive, to what you eat, to the minerals that bathe them, and to the mechanical stimulus of use. A single, consistent nutritional step, taken in the right context, can shift those signals in favor of repair rather than deterioration. In the next section, I will explain, in plain terms and with clinical clarity, exactly what changes with age at the cellular and system level, and why those changes make a targeted drink both sensible and effective as a starting point for rebuilding muscle resilience and preventing nocturnal leg cramps. When we cross the threshold of 60, something subtle but profound begins to happen within our bodies. It's not simply the passage of time, nor the cliché of getting old. It is biology adapting to decades of lived experience. Muscles that once regenerated quickly after a walk or a day in the garden now take longer to recover. Where once every cell was primed for repair, the signals that tell those cells to rebuild, especially those governed by hormones and proteins, begin to quiet. This is the process known as sarcopenia, and it is one of the most underestimated health challenges of aging. Sarcopenia isn't just a loss of muscle tissue, it's a loss of stability, energy, and safety. Muscles are not only for movement, they are also the body's largest metabolic organ. They regulate blood sugar, maintain bone density, and support circulation. When muscles weaken, everything else begins to follow. Walking upstairs feels different. Carrying groceries becomes a small battle. And during the night, those involuntary contractions, the dreaded cramps, start to appear with unsettling frequency. To understand why, picture what happens at the microscopic level. Every muscle fiber in your body depends on a delicate balance of minerals, sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, moving in and out of the cell through tiny molecular gates. When that balance is perfect, the fiber contracts and relaxes in harmony. But when it's disturbed, even slightly, the cell can seize up. After 60, this balance becomes more fragile because our kidneys, digestive system, and muscle tissue are no longer as efficient at conserving and absorbing these key nutrients. The result? One wrong signal, one sudden contraction, and a cramp that feels like it came from nowhere. But it didn't come from nowhere. It came from the slow erosion of the body's internal chemistry. An erosion that can be slowed, even reversed, with understanding and care. Chronic low-level dehydration compounds the problem. Many older adults drink less water because the sensation of thirst diminishes with age, and medications like diuretics or blood pressure pills further deplete electrolytes. The muscles, starved of the minerals they need, begin to misfire. Over time, the fibers become less elastic, and nerve conduction grows more erratic. That is why a leg cramp is not only painful, but also deeply alarming. It is your body's alarm bell, signaling that something essential is missing. Here is the hopeful truth. The same physiology that allows cramps to appear can also allow them to disappear, if we restore what is missing. The solution, surprisingly, begins with something as simple as what we drink. The right combination of fluid, electrolytes, and amino acids can reawaken the body's ability to hydrate at the cellular level and rebuild muscle fibers that are thinning with age. As a physician, I often tell my patients that the body never forgets how to heal. It only needs the right conditions. Imagine a small garden left unattended. The soil hardens, the roots dry out, but give it water, light, and nutrients, and life quietly returns. The same is true for your muscles. They do not vanish with age, they wait. And with each thoughtful choice, including what you sip daily, you can coax them back to strength. In the next chapter, we will look closer at why cramps and muscle loss accelerate with time, and how specific nutrients inside a carefully designed drink can counter those changes. You will see that what feels like aging is often a form of deficiency, one that can be corrected when you understand the biology of your own body. To grasp why the right drink can make such a difference, we have to look more deeply at the relationship between aging muscles, nerves, and the nutrients that sustain them. Every muscle contraction in your body, whether it's a heartbeat, a step, or a cramp, begins with an electrical signal. That signal travels from a nerve cell to a muscle fiber, crossing a space so small that it's invisible to the naked eye. When it arrives, calcium floods into the muscle cell, causing the fibers to shorten. Then, when magnesium and potassium return to balance, the fiber relaxes. It is an elegant, constant cycle of contraction and release. Now imagine what happens when one piece of that system falters. The older body often lacks enough magnesium, which acts as nature's muscle relaxant. Without it, the signal to let go doesn't reach the muscle properly, and the result is an involuntary spasm, the cramp that jolts you awake at night. Potassium plays a different but equally vital role. It maintains the electrical gradient that keeps nerves firing smoothly. Too little potassium, and the nerves become excitable, triggering unwanted contractions. Add in dehydration, a shortage of fluid to carry those minerals where they belong, and the entire orchestra of muscle control falls out of tune. Beyond minerals, the decline in muscle mass itself plays a hidden role. With each decade after 40, the body loses roughly 3 to 8% of muscle mass if nothing is done to preserve it. That loss accelerates after 60, especially if protein intake is low. Less muscle means less storage for glycogen and electrolytes, leaving the body even more vulnerable to imbalance. The cycle is vicious but reversible. Muscle loss leads to deficiency. Deficiency worsens cramps. Cramps discourage movement, and reduced movement speeds further muscle loss. Breaking that cycle requires both nourishment and activation. This is where targeted nutrition becomes a form of medicine. Studies from the Mayo Clinic and other research centers have demonstrated that when older adults increase their intake of specific nutrients, particularly magnesium, potassium, and easily digestible proteins rich in leucine and glycine, muscle synthesis restarts. The same participants also report a marked decline in nighttime leg cramps. The reason is simple. With better hydration and mineral balance, nerve signals stabilize, and muscle tissue is able to recover instead of deteriorating. Yet the problem is not only about deficiency, it is also about absorption. After 60, the stomach produces less acid, which makes it harder to absorb minerals and proteins from food alone. That's why certain liquids, especially those designed with both hydration and nutrition in mind, can bypass this obstacle. A well-structured drink is digested faster, its nutrients more bioavailable, and its effect on the body more immediate. This is the logic behind the formula I'll share later. Not a commercial supplement, but a scientifically sound combination of natural ingredients that replenishes what time and lifestyle have quietly taken away. If you've ever felt that your body betrays you, remember that it's not betrayal, it's communication. The cramps, the stiffness, the slower recovery, they are signals, not punishments. Your muscles are asking for balance, hydration, and nourishment. Respond to them, and they respond to you. In the coming section, I will reveal the exact composition of this restorative drink, why each ingredient matters, and how it can be integrated into your routine safely and effectively. Before we move forward, if this information has already helped you understand your body a little better, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Each week, I share carefully researched guidance to help you stay strong, sleep better, and live longer, with clarity, not confusion. Your support allows this kind of educational content to reach more people who, like you, are determined to age with strength, knowledge, and dignity. Now let's move to the heart of this discussion. What exactly is this drink, And why has science started to pay so much attention to its remarkable effects on aging muscles? Imagine beginning your day with a drink that does not promise miracles, but delivers something far more valuable: balance. A liquid that quietly restores what the body loses through time: electrolytes, amino acids, and the subtle chemistry of vitality. This is the concept behind the drink we are discussing: a simple, natural blend that supports muscle regeneration and prevents leg cramps through targeted nourishment. Its power lies not in exotic ingredients, but in understanding the elegant logic of human physiology. At its core, the formula combines magnesium, potassium, collagen, or whey protein, and a hydrating base such as coconut water or mineral water. These components may sound ordinary, yet together they form a biochemical partnership uniquely suited to the aging body. Magnesium is the gatekeeper of relaxation. It controls how and when a muscle fiber releases after contraction. Without it, the signal to rest becomes weak, and the muscle remains locked in spasm. Potassium, meanwhile, maintains the electrical gradient that allows nerves and muscles to communicate. It ensures that contraction is smooth, precise, and under your control. Then there is protein, not just in quantity but in quality. The older muscle becomes resistant to protein signals, meaning that to trigger growth and repair, it needs a stronger stimulus. That stimulus comes from amino acids like leucine, glycine, and proline, the building blocks found in collagen peptides and certain whey formulations. When combined with minerals and adequate hydration, these amino acids feed directly into the repair pathways that rebuild muscle fibers and connective tissue. It is this interaction, not any single nutrient, that makes the drink effective. For hydration, coconut water is a natural choice because it contains electrolytes in proportions remarkably similar to those found in human plasma. It is gentle on the stomach and rapidly absorbed. For those who prefer alternatives, mineral water with a pinch of natural sea salt and a squeeze of citrus provides comparable benefits. The key is balance, not too much sodium, enough potassium and magnesium, and a source of protein that the body can use without digestive strain. When mixed, this drink acts on multiple fronts. It replenishes depleted minerals, stabilizes nerve conduction, and delivers amino acids to muscle tissue. But it also supports another critical function often overlooked: blood circulation. Proper hydration and electrolyte balance improve microvascular flow, meaning that oxygen and nutrients reach your muscles more efficiently. Over time, this small daily ritual helps reverse the subtle dehydration and mineral loss that lead to cramps and weakness. Some people notice results within days: less stiffness upon waking, fewer nighttime cramps. For others, it may take weeks for the effects to accumulate. What matters is consistency. The body repairs itself slowly but steadily, and just as years of neglect can erode strength, weeks of care can rebuild it. To prepare it, dissolve 1 scoop, or about 10 grams, of collagen or whey protein in a glass of coconut water. Add a small pinch of magnesium citrate or use a supplement form approved by your doctor. Stir gently, squeeze half a lemon for flavor and vitamin C, and drink it once a day, ideally in the morning, when hydration and nutrient absorption are most efficient. The taste is light, slightly nutty from the protein, and refreshing. This simple combination, backed by nutritional science, acts as both prevention and repair. But more important than the recipe itself is the understanding behind it. You are not drinking a cure. You are giving your cells what they recognize, the molecules they use to build, signal, and recover. It is not an act of indulgence, but of restoration, a conversation between you and your body that says, "I am listening." In the next chapter, we will explore the science that validates this approach, the research showing why these specific nutrients work synergistically and how they can genuinely influence muscle physiology even in advanced age. Science, when stripped of jargon, is simply a language for truth. Over the past 2 decades, Researchers have investigated why older adults lose muscle and experience cramps despite eating enough. The conclusion has been remarkably consistent. It is not merely what we consume, but what our bodies can absorb, utilize, and retain. The drink described earlier works because it addresses all three. Magnesium, for instance, is involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions, yet studies show that nearly 70% of adults over 60 fall short of the daily requirement. As stomach acid declines with age, absorption drops further. This deficiency has measurable consequences. When magnesium levels fall, calcium accumulates in the muscle cell, keeping it in a contracted state. The result is rigidity, tension, and cramping. Restoring magnesium through food alone is difficult. Green vegetables and nuts contain it, but in small amounts, and older digestive systems may not extract enough. When delivered in liquid form, however, magnesium is absorbed faster and reaches the muscle tissue more efficiently. Potassium deficiency is equally pervasive, especially among those taking blood pressure medications. Low potassium alters nerve signaling, making muscles hyperexcitable, a scientific way of saying more likely to cramp. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that moderate increases in dietary potassium reduced muscle spasms and improved strength in adults over 65. In simple terms, restoring potassium steadies the nervous system. Protein, the third pillar, has its own story. The European Journal of Nutrition reports that older adults require roughly 50% more protein than younger people to stimulate muscle synthesis. It's not a matter of overeating, but of precision. Collagen peptides, rich in glycine and proline, provide a direct substrate for tissue repair and also improve the elasticity of tendons and ligaments, structures often neglected in the discussion of cramps. The inclusion of vitamin C, even from a simple squeeze of lemon, enhances collagen formation by supporting the enzyme that assembles its fibers. Together, these ingredients form a nutritional matrix that mirrors the needs of the aging body. Hydration amplifies everything. Dehydration reduces blood volume, slowing nutrient transport and impairing muscle oxygenation. It also thickens the blood, making circulation less efficient. Studies from the University of Connecticut demonstrate that mild dehydration, as little as 2% of body weight, can double the frequency of muscle cramps during the night. That is why the drink's water base is not incidental but essential. You are not just feeding your muscles, you are re-establishing their environment. Perhaps the most convincing evidence comes from trials where older adults followed a simple routine. 1 protein electrolyte drink daily, combined with light resistance exercise such as walking or band training. Within 6 to 8 weeks, participants gained measurable muscle mass and reported a 60% reduction in nocturnal leg cramps. The conclusion is not that a beverage alone performs miracles, but that it facilitates the body's natural ability to adapt and heal when given the right support. Think of this approach not as a temporary fix, but as a long-term partnership with your physiology. Aging is inevitable. Decline is not. Every sip you take from this drink is an act of prevention, replenishing what decades have quietly drained away. With each day, circulation improves, the nervous system stabilizes, and the muscles relearn their rhythm. Over time, strength returns not as an illusion, but as a biological response. When viewed through the lens of science, the idea becomes simple. Restore the internal chemistry, and the external body follows. That is why this drink, though humble, carries such power. It speaks the language of your cells, hydration, minerals, amino acids, and the body listens. As the days go by and your body continues to age, you may not notice how small habits accumulate to determine whether you stay strong and mobile, or whether simple tasks begin to feel like challenges. But here's the truth. Your body is constantly giving you signals. When you wake up with sore legs, when your muscles feel weaker, or when you start to lose balance more often, these are not random signs. They are your body's way of asking for support. And the good news is, it's never too late to rebuild what's been lost. Science has shown that even after the age of 60, your muscles are capable of growing stronger, your circulation can improve, and your energy can return if you give your body what it truly needs. The drink we discussed earlier, rich in magnesium, potassium, high-quality protein, and hydration, is more than just a remedy for cramps. It's a daily act of self-care that helps your body repair itself from the inside out. The balance of electrolytes ensures your muscles stay relaxed and flexible, the amino acids rebuild tissue that has been broken down, and the natural antioxidants protect your cells from further damage. Every sip is a reminder that you're not powerless against time. You can guide your body toward vitality again. Imagine waking up one morning, stepping out of bed, and realizing your legs feel steady and strong. You walk to the kitchen, make your breakfast, and there's no stiffness in your joints. You go for a short walk outside, and instead of feeling fatigued, you feel energized. That's what happens when you support your body consistently. The small actions, hydrating properly, eating the right nutrients, and moving regularly, become the foundation of strength, independence, and longevity. But none of this works if you give up on your body. The people who stay strong after 60 are not necessarily the ones who had perfect health all their lives. They're the ones who decided to take control, to give their bodies what they deserve, and to stay curious about how to live better. They understood that the human body is a masterpiece of adaptation. It never stops trying to heal. And that's where your focus should be, not on fighting aging, but on cooperating with it, on giving your body the tools to age gracefully, powerfully, and comfortably. If you've been listening this far, it means you care deeply about your health, and that's something to be proud of. So before we finish, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to this channel. Here we share science-based information to help you live longer, sleep better, and protect your mind and body. Your support helps us bring more people the knowledge they need to live fully at every age. So go ahead, subscribe now, and be part of a community that believes in health, longevity, and awareness. Now, as we conclude, I want to leave you with a simple thought. Your health is your greatest investment. The time and care you give your body will always come back to you in the form of freedom, energy, and peace of mind. So start today. Prepare that drink. Make it part of your morning ritual. Take care of your muscles, your hydration, your sleep. These are not just routines. They are ways of saying thank you to your body for carrying you through life. Because no matter your age, you are still capable of strength, still capable of growth, and still capable of transformation. Your body has not given up on you, so don't give up on it. Every step, every choice, every sip of the right nutrients moves you closer to a version of yourself that feels alive, resilient, and in control. That is the real secret of aging well. Not to resist time, but to work with it, to honor your body, and to keep nurturing it with awareness and love. You've learned today that something as simple as a drink can make a profound difference. But the real transformation happens when you turn knowledge into action. So let this be the moment you decide to act, to drink smarter, move often, and live consciously. Because health, after all, is not about how old you are. It's about how deeply you choose to care for yourself every single day.